give it like a few seconds so that I can just feel like there's not a camera here, and then I'll be fine to talk.
Sure.
So, hi guys, welcome to the Long Story Short podcast. I'm Jade.
And I'm Lisa.
And today we thought we would talk a bit about productivity, motivation, and feeling stuck in your 20s, all things related to that.
Yes, and a bit of a catch-up before.
Of course,
as usual, because we need to just yap it all out to get things started.
Yeah. What have you been up to?
So I was away in Budapest for a few days over the weekend and had an amazing time. Got to experience a bit of an early spring compared to Sweden here. I mean, it's still not green as you would want it to be there, but it was very warm. It was about 14-15 degrees, so I would walk around in my just like blouse and a cardigan all day and then head back for dinner and stuff. So it was a nice time to be off. I didn't really film anything besides just taking a film camera. So nothing is vlogged, but I had a really good time. Drank a lot of yummy Dreher beer, which is like the most popular Hungarian beer.
Is it a light beer or what kind of?
It was kind of fruity, which I really liked.
Yeah,
Charbin wasn't a huge fan of it, but I really liked it.
Because I like lighter beers as well.
I think you would like this one. It was really good. And we had langos, which is like, I mean, I should definitely not call it a pizza because it is not a pizza, but it was like this dough that's like, I think it's fried because it was very crispy but then soft on the inside. So it's either oven baked or fried in like oil, and then you have sour cream with cheese on top. Charbin had like it with red onion, tomato and chicken, so we had that, which is a traditional dish. We tried langos the last time we were there. No, we tried goulash the last time we were there, which is like tomato beef stew.
Right, like a soupy type thing, right? Yeah.
So we didn't have that this time. But what we did have was chimney cake, and that was really good. This time I researched a little bit more to really be able to go to the best place possible. Because last time I just went to a vendor that was on the street.
Was it kind of touristy or?
Yeah, it was dry and it wasn't as good as I imagined it to be, but this time it really hit the spot. I had a pistachio-coated chimney cake with Nutella inside, but you could also choose pistachio cream or gelato. Yeah, you could also have with cinnamon coated on the outside. And it was just really warm and big and yummy. So, yes.
That sounds
that
so
was really good. Should I let them know what place it was?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. For the 10 people watching, if anyone wants to know my recommendation for chimney cake in Budapest, let's see.
Is it like a pastry though, or more bread?
It's a sweet treat. It's a pastry, yes. Definitely a sweet treat.
Because when I saw it on your story, I couldn't really figure out what it was that you were posting about. It looked like, at first it looked like reels of wool or something. I was so confused.
You're like, you went to a yarn shop.
Because it had all those different...
Right.
Yeah.
Here it is. It's called Gelateria Pichler Fagiso. I hope I'm saying that right. It was really good. Look at that. Gelato.
Wow.
Yeah. It was really yummy, actually. And there was another place that was known to be the popular one, but someone said this place was better, and I only tried this one this time, so that's my recommendation. But it really hit, and I'm quite picky with food as well, so yeah, it was really fresh. They made it at the spot and just gave it to you directly, so you had to wait a little bit, but that was really worth it.
Did you eat any other Hungarian foods there?
No, we ate a bunch of Chinese food. Because the Chinese food in Budapest slapped. It was really good because we met up with Charbin's friends the first evening, and Charbin was kind of craving like seafoody or Chinese food, so we went to this restaurant and we weren't really sure if it was gonna taste any good, but all the menus were really good. And then we went to a malatang place afterwards. Yeah, we had a lot of Chinese food in Budapest. The parliament was amazing. I feel like I can just stare at it for hours. If you ever go there, it will be the biggest piece of architecture you have ever seen in your life.
Is that the one you could see from your hotel?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
that
really
looks beautiful,
good.
yeah. The view looked amazing because it was also
Yeah.
over the river, right?
It was just by the Fisherman's Bastion, which is like a viewpoint. I feel like it's such a romantic city. They have the yellow trams going by, and by the water you can also walk for so long and just stare at the night scene, because the night view is really beautiful because they light up all the buildings like with this yellow beam light. So it looks very pretty. And you should definitely take the tour boat that goes on for like an hour. You can pay maybe like 15 euros and you get a glass of like sparkling wine, and there's more tours where you can get unlimited prosecco and wine and those things. But this is more casual, just like having a drink and watching the view, which was amazing.
It kind of reminds me when I saw the pictures you took a little bit of the Seine in Paris with the big river and then these beautiful buildings.
It's one big river, yes. And it's divided with Buda and Pest. So the Pest, apparently it means like flat. So it's the part where they have all the nice cafes and a lot of buildings and residential areas. And then there's Buda, which is more historical, where they have a lot of palaces. Also residential for sure, but not as touristy in the back, I think. And Buda means like hill.
Okay.
Apparently. So they were two separate cities, and then they got connected with a bridge.
Oh wow, okay.
And then it became Budapest
One big
in
city,
1800s or something. Yeah, don't come at me if it's not fact.
Have you watched the Grand Budapest Hotel?
No, but the Buda Castle was the inspiration for the movie, like the Budapest Hotel, how it looks from the outside, and it looks very similar. But I haven't seen the movie itself.
Because it was quite Charlie Chaplin vibes. I found it was very unique and very specific, but I would have to rewatch it.
Isn't it very artistic?
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't say it's a typical movie. The acting is quite specific and unique. But speaking of movies and things, I think last week on the episode we talked about maybe wanting to go see Hamnet. Yeah. And we did end up going to see it. Not yesterday, but the day before. So we went to our local movie theater. I've been so obsessed since we watched it. And yesterday I went down a whole rabbit hole of watching all the interviews and the acceptance speech from the director, Chloe Zhao, I think.
Because they actually won
I think it won
award.
Best Motion Picture of 2026. Even though the year's not over. I'm not sure exactly, but it did win something. And I know Jessie Buckley, the main actress, she also won something like the best.
Her acting was amazing, actually.
It was incredible.
It was really good because there were so many close-up scenes where you could see every single pore and wrinkle, and you could see the emotion conveyed in her eyes and her mouth, and it's just everything was so perfect.
And she's so expressive.
Yeah.
And especially for being an actress that I personally have never seen in another movie or show, to come to such a big movie out of kind of nowhere. I'm not saying she has not done other movies. I know she has. Yeah. However, it's the first time I'm seeing her. Same. And she just does absolutely incredibly. Yeah. And the movie was more about her, I would say.
Like at one point I didn't even see Paul Mescal because I was just busy watching her acting. And like whilst Paul Mescal was really good, like I personally have never watched Normal People or anything he's been in, so it was my first time seeing him as well. Yeah. And I think they were just a good choice for the role. Like it felt like you were actually placed in that time.
You were so immersed in the movie, and I will say, comparing it now to Wuthering Heights.
Oh, it was nothing like Wuthering Heights.
It's what I wanted from Wuthering Heights that I didn't get.
Yes.
And all the costume design, impeccable. All the set design was amazing.
The set was amazing, just like the old London and the countryside and the housing and everything was just
the house they stayed in was amazing. And I watched some interviews where they spoke a lot about the set design and how much effort
I need to watch that.
They put into each piece. So they even shipped a plank of wood from Paris that they needed this specific plank over the fireplace and like very specific things, and
crazy.
They thought about every little detail, and it really made you feel so immersed in it. And the young boy's acting was crazy.
We have his name here.
Jacoby
Jupe.
Yeah.
Oh, he was so cute. But also his acting was really good. I was so surprised because how can you be that young and convey so much emotion?
It was crazy. You really need to watch the interview because Jacoby, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Yeah. His way of speaking is so mature for his age. Really? I'm not sure how old he is, but even the interviewer said, I'm convinced you are like a 50-year-old man in a little boy's body because the way he was speaking, and it was such a cute but
that's crazy
sad interview because he even started crying in the interview. Aww. And said that this was like a life-changing opportunity for him. And
what?
So
life-changing? Cute. Your life has just begun.
I know. So cute.
So adorable.
Yeah, so
that's crazy.
So
but he must be about like 10 years old, not even.
I really want to read the book now. I think the book is really good. I've heard a lot of good things about it, but it came out quite recently.
Because I didn't understand what the concept was. I knew it was an interpretation of William Shakespeare. I didn't think it was written about William Shakespeare. So then when you get to the scene where they reveal that it's William Shakespeare, then I was quite surprised because then everything clicked for me.
Right.
And then it started making more sense.
And throughout the whole movie, they never revealed what his name was. We only knew her name.
Didn't she say Will? But it wasn't like William Shakespeare.
Yeah, maybe they mentioned it, but it wasn't really said as often.
Right.
But it was so good. And I was reading about it as well, and they don't actually know much about William Shakespeare's family, so it's all speculation. You know, who the wife was and his children. But if you could think that William Shakespeare would write such amazing pieces, you would think that he would have some kind of inspiration from the people around him, surely.
Yeah,
so it was quite
definitely
interesting.
And it was just so well connected to the play of Hamlet itself with the storyline. And the build-up was really great, and like the frustration and misunderstandings between these two people that love each other was very well portrayed. I did not feel like it was dragging on, or I did not feel it was boring. You were just kind of mesmerized in the movie.
Yeah. I kind of want to go back and watch it again, but it's so intense that I don't know if I would really be able to.
It's not just a movie you would watch on a whim.
You have to be in the right mood, I feel. What I loved was also just the depictions of the family and how happy a family they were at certain times. It was so cute.
I was like, maybe I need to have 3 kids, you know, instead of 2, because it was just so lively and beautiful. I really want to explore and watch more new movies this year, and I feel like we've gone off to a good start. And I mean the not a good start, not with Wuthering Heights, but I'm saying to expose ourselves to newer movies and just a lot of great pieces, you know. Also interviews, documentaries. Very interesting.
It's just very interesting and gives you different perspectives, because also with a movie as compared to a TV show or episodes, you get a full picture, a full circle moment in an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Right.
Where you get brought through this entire journey. And it usually does have some kind of more satisfying ending. Whereas if you're watching a series and you're just watching in episodes at a time, you don't get that full cycle of emotions in one episode, I would say. So
5 stages of
grief.
Not grief. 5 stages of drama.
Yes.
But I mean, also like when you're watching a series, you binge watch and you're not focusing as much, and that's not the only thing I do personally when I'm watching a series. I always have to do something with my hands. I can never just separately focus on watching a series.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's YouTube before bed sometimes, then I will focus on that, but usually I'm knitting or sketching and I have it in the background. So watching a movie is just really good for me and practicing my focusing abilities to just immerse in one single thing, and like monotasking, not multitasking several things, you know?
Exactly. So, and helping to fix our attention spans as well, to just fully focus on that moment.
Yeah, definitely. Did you want to talk about Harry Styles' new album?
All I'll say is I've been really enjoying Harry Styles' new album, and I loved Aperture when it first came out, and I was listening to it non-stop.
I need to go to a club that has that, you know?
A club remix would hit. And I've started running a little bit again because the weather's been so nice.
It is good running music.
That album is perfect to run to. So far, I really love American Girls. And I love the last song, which is Carla's song.
Yeah, apparently that one's really good.
It's reminding me a lot of, what is that other song on his last album?
Matilda.
Matilda, I think. I've been hearing some critics saying that his new album is screaming that Harry has been clubbing a lot and he wants people to know about it, which I mean is kind of true. But I've really been enjoying it, and I heard another person saying that it was void of all fun. Like the album was just well produced, but it doesn't have any energy or fun in it, which I really don't see that. But
Boy,
I think,
do you have to touch grass and look back at yourself. Because
are you Harry Styles? No.
it's a very spring album. Spring,
Yes.
summery.
Spring nights or kind of, yeah.
I would love to dance to that at a club once.
But I feel like you can definitely see that he's been running marathons and that his album kind of suits the pace of running as well, which is quite fun.
You know, all men in their 30s have to run a marathon. Were you gonna say that?
Exactly. What is it about being in mid-20s to 30s where everyone is just suddenly running marathons? What is that about?
Is it like, I mean, it's nothing like giving birth, but I'm like, is that when you... Is that the turning point for you to feel like you have now matured and conquered your max physical... I guess it's your physical health that you conquer to the max and experience that once in your life, and then...
Before it all goes downhill.
And then it goes downhill. So many people run marathons in their late 50s and 60s as well, but
I definitely think it gives you a certain sense of accomplishment. I mean...
The urge is crazy.
By all means, run your marathons. It's a very healthy coping mechanism. And I think that also is one of my problems, is that a lot of times I'll be obsessed with certain things. In the summer, I was obsessed with running and I was really loving it. And then I just hit a certain hurdle or something took me out of the routine of running. And then suddenly I just disregarded all the previous months of progress and never ran again. What is that about? Because I have done that with a lot of things.
That's your procrastination now.
Yeah.
Today's topic.
I don't really understand it very well. The thing of being really into something and then giving it up and not following it through. And one of the only things I've followed through is continuing to do ceramics. Do you feel like you also do that with some things, or?
Well, for me, I have a hard relationship with the gym. Let's say when I'm really in it, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll never go back to like not being at the gym. And then 1 week I'm just never there, and then I'm never there for like 1 or 2 months, and then I pick it up again and I'm like, oh yeah, who would ever stop going when it feels this good, and then I stop again. So it's like not being able to trust myself when it comes to if I'll actually be sticking to it in a few months' time, which I feel like I will talk about more later, but it's very self-sabotage behavior. So,
and it is strange because even the things we know feel good, eating healthily, actually making really good meals for yourself, or working out and, for example, feeling runner's high or feeling that energy you get after a workout, but then for some reason you just end up stopping, and then you kind of forget how good it does feel until you start again.
And you're like, who was that? That's some other person in my past life, because I was not that person I was a few months ago. Not that you're like doing worse, but like of course you have other things occupying your life. And for me it's a problem. The first thing I disregard when I'm busy is the gym, which I really shouldn't be doing, because I do feel much better just in general when I care about my physical health, and that's how I can do my long run. Not like actually running, but like keep it up, just stamina in general, more energy, less mood swings, or that I have not proven myself, but just more energy in general, like, and taking myself out of the house, focusing on one thing a bit longer, and those kind of things. Once I feel like I don't even have 40 minutes in my day, I just directly delete working out of my schedule, and that's something I really need to fix, and I really want to work on that.
Yeah, same, because
it's sad.
Those things like eating well and sleeping well and working out should be the foundation, but for me as well, those are one of the first things to go, especially with food and working out. Those are some of the first things to go out the window when I feel stressed.
Yes.
Where it should be the opposite, and of course if you do eat well and you do work out, you will feel less stress, because
then you sleep bad, and then it's just a whole ass depresso cycle. But anyways, we can hop into today's topic if there's not anything more you want to talk about. We wanted to talk more about productivity in general, and how we feel stuck when we do feel stuck, procrastination, executive dysfunction that I've been experiencing, and all things related. So
And I think something that I would like to talk about as well is the concept of feeling ready, and that ready is not a feeling, it's a decision. And to just start things, even if your perfectionist brain is not wanting to start something if it is imperfect.
Right. I mean, I realized this a bit late. I always was blaming myself for not sticking to it, but I'm a person who cannot use a weekly or a monthly scheduler. Because once there is defined dates on my scheduler and I haven't done it for a few days, I feel like I've ruined the whole thing. I need to start on a clean slate, so then I wait for the next Monday, I wait for the next start of the month, and then I'm never ready. So it's this numerical sabotage cycle I get into, because I could just focus on something today and start it if I really want to, but I feel like I need to wait for the right timing, which is like, you're never really ready. It's just one day you wake up and you're like, oh, maybe I want to do this today.
Yeah.
But it's never, at least for us, it's never like a physical barrier. It's more mental.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very interesting feeling to feel like you can't get your hand on something and just grind into it right away.
And I think that's true also for me, even with smaller things. For example, waiting until the clock strikes directly 2 o'clock before I can start something, even if it's 1:45. I don't feel like I can start, and I will procrastinate. 3 feels better because that's halfway through the afternoon, then 2, and then it starts to go.
It's
like
crazy because I think about that all the frickin' time.
Yeah.
Like I look at the clock, I'm like 2:43. Let's wait until 2:50. But I mean, wouldn't it be better to just start it at 3? And then, it's crazy how time is just literally a concept.
Yeah, because I've also started thinking about trying to divide my days into sort of sections. So I would have like a morning section and an afternoon and then an evening. So to help fit into this concept I already have of time, of not being able to start something at 10 o'clock because it's so close to lunchtime, that I might as well wait till lunch and then do it after lunch. So I've been trying to think of sectioning my day up. So I would try to think of like a morning section and then have a category. So maybe in the morning I'll do chores, and in the afternoon I'll do studying or applying for jobs, and then evening is podcast or hobbies or something.
Right.
I have yet to start that, but I've been thinking about it and trying to find ways to actually enhance my productivity and work with my procrastination in a way.
Because there's so much you can do in a day, and for me the afternoon, like after lunch until dinner time, feels so bleh. Like, what are you supposed to do at that time? Like, I want to be outside if the day is good before sundown. Like, you want to take your walk, you want to go somewhere, and then in the evening, past 9, I'm suddenly having this urge to study and like get my shit done until 12 o'clock, which is like so ideally not how I'm supposed to use my day, but my brain functions way better in the evening, I've realized. And yeah, it's just really weird to having to like structure your day around how you're feeling. Because for me, it's so easy to compromise with myself. That's my biggest procrastination trait, is that that's my self-sabotaging trait, is that I really am not able to trust myself in like the long run, because I'm like, oh yeah, I will start this at 3. When 3 comes around, I'm not doing shit.
No.
And it's just pushed back day by day. And my thing is, if I have a 2-week deadline and I have 14 days, I'm like, 10 days is fine. I can fit all the 14 days stuff I need to do within 10 days. And that just becomes 9 days, 8 days, 7 days.
5 days.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Procrastination to the max. And for me, it's like I don't even have a sense of panic when it comes to the deadline, because I just pass it. Like to that level. And during high school, I would just pass the deadline. And I'm like, it's just been 1 week past the deadline. It's fine,
Yeah.
And I've gotten much better at it, sticking to the actual deadline, but still when I'm narrowing, getting close to the deadline of like me having to hand in something, then it gets really stressful the last few days, and then I'm like, I can't do this shit anymore, like I give it all up.
And then you can reach a point also where it's like, I also, when I get to that point of leaving it right to the last minute, and then I'm so stressed, and I swear to myself, I'll never do this again. I'll never
do this again.
I will never put myself in a situation where I have to stress so much right in the last day. But I think also another thing is, because we've gotten away with it, we're relatively well-functioning adults to most people's standards. Not fully, but you know.
I pay for myself, I do my duties.
We're self-sufficient. Yeah. We thrive to a degree. And then because passing a deadline has worked for us in the past and there are not huge consequences, depending on what it is, then we learn that we can keep doing it.
Because the thing is, nothing is actually worse in reality than your thoughts leading up to that state. You feel like you're gonna get scolded, you're gonna be in real trouble, you're gonna lose, let's say, your study funding because you haven't been able to finish in time. And that shit never really happens.
No.
So it's your brain just like stressing you out to the max, and then you reach the climax and you're like, oh, but it's actually kind of fine. And then you repeat that cycle, you know, it's just...
And it's not sustainable at all.
Really bad. Yeah.
No.
But this time thing, it's kind of OCD for us, don't you think? It's kind of, I don't feel like most people would function this way, because like what I really realized with living with a person like Chabin is that he does not ever think that he never feels lazy to be putting stuff off. He has a thought, he starts it immediately. Every single day, studies the same thing every single day and is not bored. Still has been studying Swedish for 3 years, every single day, does his business for... And that stresses me out. The thought of that, I don't think I can do the same thing every single day.
To have so much routine.
Yeah.
I think that stresses me out as well.
But he doesn't have a fixed time.
No.
He plays his games, he does everything else that he wants to do, but he still, I guess, the effectiveness he has as a person and making the most out of his day versus me feeling like I'm wasting my day is just... we're on a totally different level, and that's how I think I realized more that I am not the normal standardized person, I think.
But I think also probably a lot of people, at least the people I've spoken to, have a similar concept of, for example, time, where you have to wait until the clock strikes a certain whole number to be able to start something. But I do think with all of this as well, I am the kind of person, and I was talking about this just the other day, that I do things based on how I feel. So a lot of what I do is run and governed by my emotions and how I just feel in that moment. And that's not a very good way, because then it's all about motivation, and motivation is not stable, it's not consistent.
Definitely not.
Discipline, on the other hand, is something you build over time and it becomes a habit.
Right.
But motivation is just, you could feel, you know, if you only rely on motivation, you might never end up doing something.
Because, for example, I just had to finish my Swedish course in order to be able to even apply to uni, right?
Yeah.
And I did not enjoy that course.
No.
So, like, trying to study for the course based on how I'm feeling, you're basically never getting anything done.
No.
Because you're like, do I feel like doing this? No, definitely not, you know? It's just crazy how our mind governs our whole being and like how we choose to act that day.
And I think, I mean, that goes into even doing the podcast, and you've been really helpful in that regard, because you've encouraged me to treat it like a job and treat it like, okay, we do this regardless of how we feel, because I think I often, for example, this morning, I felt for some reason I just woke up, I'd been dreaming really heavily. My alarm woke me up maybe in the middle of a sleep cycle, and I felt so groggy and tired. And I was kind of thinking in my head, dreading, I wish I didn't have to do the podcast. And thinking that that feeling will continue for the rest of the day, which is also not true, because my feelings go up and down.
Yeah.
I'm unstable, so...
I mean, I had my regular mental breakdown last night, so I was like crying afterward. And then my eyes got so puffy this morning, I had like spoons on my eyes. I was like, shit, now I have to film so early in the morning. Well, now it's like, we decided we'll do it at noon. But to me, it wasn't an option to not do it, because this is, because you've been matching my time a lot, because I have such a packed schedule now with portfolio season coming up, and like I have to apply for uni and stuff. So this is literally the only day I could fit in for next week episode. So I mean, it's been really good for me treating it as work as well, because then I'm actually getting it done. And even if there's like 5 people watching us, like we really have to, because this is something we've been wanting to do. And I feel like the process is starting to bring us joy, even though it might be difficult at times. And we are putting time into it. And once we are, it's getting way more easier to, and less daunting to do every week. And for me, my YouTube as well, I've been really wanting to kickstarted for like over 5 years now, and I've disappointed myself time and time again, and now this is the time where I'm like, that's not an option, and I really just have to do it, because otherwise there will be no change for me.
Exactly. And I think that's when you see over time that your everyday decisions of procrastination and not following through on habits do improve your life. Those everyday things make up what your life is. So it actually does make a big difference. And you see after a year, if you've continually made decisions to not go to the gym, made decisions to not study, whatever, they will have consequences, and you'll find yourself in the same place a year later, and that doesn't feel very good either. But I think there's like something, we have to try to hack our brains into incentivizing ourselves to do things.
The thing is, we have to unlearn in order to learn again the right way, because our brain is programmed to react the exact same way we have done before, and it's so easy to fall back into that rut. So we have to reprogram, and
that's the thing also, it's that much harder, because if you're used to putting something off, if you're used to sitting on the couch when you should be going to the gym or whatever, it's actually, you have to physically create and pave new neural pathways in your brain.
It's the hardest thing ever to like just get up and go to the freaking gym, because
just make that decision.
You're fighting with yourself so much. Do I go? But do I not go? Do I not?
And doing pros and cons. Oh, if I go, then I won't have time for this. If I this and that, and just going back and forth. And in that time that you've spent procrastinating, sitting on the couch, weighing up, should I go, should I not go? You could have already been done.
No, I'm serious. It's crazy.
Ourselves out.
But like also, when you're so immersed in that emotion of not wanting to do something that you really have to do, it's really hard to get out of it.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's just taken over me, and I'm just not myself anymore. I'm just this emotion.
Yeah.
And it's ruling me, literally.
Exactly.
And but also I think a thing for me is that, like, for example, going to the gym, I don't just get up and go. I think about the whole process. I'm like, I need to get dressed, and then I need to put my shoes on, pack my water, go down to the gym. I have to wear the leggings and my sports bra, and I have to do all the motions in order to be back and feel like liberated. Oh,
it's a whole process that you have to go through.
So that's something I really shouldn't be thinking about, like the whole process of it. I just need to be in the moment and do it more, rather than allowing myself to daunt those things.
Yeah. I can think of a very vivid example. When you're standing at the top of a diving board, or you're going to jump off a rock into water or something, getting into the ice after the sauna, and just that first moment, the more you stand there and think about how you have to jump, the more time it's going to take, and the more you psych yourself up, make yourself worried, and you're more likely to not end up doing it at all.
Exactly.
Whereas if you just actually count to 3, make a split-second decision, and just throw yourself off that cliff, then it just, the more you start thinking about it, the worse you're going to build it up in your head to be than it actually is.
But that's the thing, the fear takes over, and fear is such an emotion that keeps us back from doing so many things. And then it's just your emotional self ruling your cognitive self, it's just taken over, and you have to not let your emotions get in the way.
And I think I've also realized that's why I procrastinate a lot of the time, is because I'm stressed. So for example, before this episode, when you mentioned driver's license, that brings me stress, because that involves having to think about my financial situation and actually budgeting, and will I have enough money to pay for that. It involves also needing to look up a bunch of things from scratch and find out how it's going to work and get down to the details of it. And maybe even entail starting to study the theory section of it. And all those things feel so daunting as a whole that I would rather just avoid it and think,
Right.
oh, I'll deal with it tomorrow. And I do that all the time. So when I'm stressed about things, a lot of things with performance, when I had to hand in my thesis, and I am, in some ways, I'm not a perfectionist, but in others I am. I think...
I mean, I definitely think we are perfectionists when it comes to this. Because that's the whole reason I could never hand in my extended essay in high school, because I felt like someone was constantly judging me.
Yeah.
And I had to perform to the max and not show any of my weak abilities.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's what kept me back from doing it, you know?
Even sending in a draft that's half finished.
Right.
You didn't want to show it to anyone until you felt it was perfect, and you didn't feel you'd reached your full potential, so you didn't want to have anyone see that side of you that was unable to finish the draft.
Their meaning of a draft was not the meaning of a draft for us.
Yeah.
It was more, it had to be perfect. Yeah.
And that, I think, is my worst thing, where I make it mean so much about who I am that I'm correlating like how well I do the work to if I am capable as a person.
Right.
And so because it means so much, I just end up avoiding it because I don't want to face maybe my failure or my failed potential. And so I never even let myself live up to my full potential because I'm scared that my full potential is not as high as I thought it would be.
Right.
Does that make sense? So I'd rather just say, oh, well, if I never tried, then I will never fail. And that is really silly.
I mean, I do feel like we constantly go through change, and you have grown so much in the past 1 to 2 years, which is honestly crazy to think about, like your 2-year ago self. Isn't that really crazy if you just think about it like that?
And
no art school,
yours,
living in Uppsala, you have a whole different life going on right now. And no, but I realized this more because Chavin gets constantly told by his friends a lot to choose what's safe, because he's more the adventurous person, I guess, compared to his friends that have more societal pressure from living and being born and raised in Korea. And the definition of success for them, having a good job, being a bit more, having the ability to be a bit more materialistic, and all those kind of factors that get them to stop and not push through what they would actually maybe want to do. The fear factor that if my friends said something about what I was doing, I think would be larger than what he interprets as what his friends are telling him. So that's a really good thing that he's doing. And I do think for us as like a couple, it's way better for us to live life knowing what has happened rather than regretting of the not knowing. And we like that, and we think it's all a lesson. Like, if you want to invest, you have to be bold and like
take a risk.
And you will fail, and that's how you learn, you know? Because if you're after like 10 years and you're like, oh, I never tried this thing and I still wonder. And I'm like, the thought of wondering is more daunting to me than like having experienced it and getting it out of my way. So I do think it's important too.
And that's so important to also learn that you have to just start things even if you don't feel ready, even if your project is not perfectly thought out and planned. Sometimes you just have to start it, because through the process of starting it, you learn so much, and then you already have like done something at least towards your goal.
Right.
Because thinking about it is not going to give you results. And you could always be more prepared.
Right.
And so that's going to hold you back if you think, oh, I have to wait until I'm ready. Or, for example, with the podcast even, it's like, sure, we could have come up with 20 episode ideas before starting and put it off longer. But
use professional mics and everything, but
sometimes you just got to do it.
Just got to do it, and you invest as you go. And even if I look back at like my first ever YouTube video, it's so bad when you look back right now. I don't like the editing style, the text, or like what I was doing in the video, but like you just have to leave it there, because if you delete everything you don't like, how are you even gonna have this portfolio of yourself? And
also then you can see so clearly how much you've grown and changed and improved over time, because you have something to compare it to.
Yeah.
But I think it's also important the kind of perception we have of productivity. And as you said just now, looking back, if you look back 2 years, you can actually see how much progress we have made. And it might not feel like it right now, oh, you know, that we've changed. But even in a year where you feel like you're in the same job or not progressed and not really come so far, you still have learned a lot, even if it doesn't feel like it. And so I think in order for us to keep motivating ourselves to continue on, we have to also acknowledge like how far we've come.
And also productivity is such a subjective thing if you think about it. Like some people can feel productive by doing one task, whilst if you have higher standards, it will never feel like you're doing enough.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't call yourself productive even if you're doing so many things towards getting a step further in your life. And for example, like you searching for jobs, I think the constant applying for jobs, even if you search online, you get a good idea of, oh, this is what I need to look into more, this is how I can write my CV, and like you just gain so much database in your brain that it's all experience at the end, you know?
Yeah.
And like for me, signing up for university, it's so tricky to think of like a perfect guideline, because I'm like, yes, I went to art school and the pieces I sent in last year were not perfect, but they were good. But also they rate you based on your portfolio. So I'm scared that it will have to be perfect for me to get into uni, but also uni is a place where you're supposed to learn all these things. So like, how do I rate how good my work is compared to what they will see from other people, or like what their standards are, you know? Because one person can have higher standards, that's the judge of these portfolios, and like if I don't get up to that point, it's so subjective, you know, of like how good a project can be and how thoughtful you've been in a process. And I think that's what's been really difficult for me right now, is the constant fear that jumps in, thinking that, oh, maybe I should do this technique because I don't feel like I'm showing enough. And but actually it's just like you need the basic skills and will to do it. Like your passion, I think, is more important to show that. And when you're at the interview, of like explaining yourself well, rather than you having like grand project for your university application, you know?
And you can't have everything figured out and know exactly what path you're going to take. That's what you're trying to find out when you're at university and being taught these different skills. And also, on the other hand, having this thought of, oh, it has to be perfect, or I have to show off more of my skills, or sort of going between 3 different potential projects. That can also take a lot of time away from actually doing the thing. So even if you would want it to be perfect, it's better to hand in a portfolio than no portfolio at all. You can have trust in yourself that you did it last year and you succeeded and you came so far that you are capable of doing it again. And you have learned a lot since then.
Now I have my Swedish degree for it.
You're doing a good job, and
you too.
You shall succeed.
Yes, and I know your dream job is out there for you.
But I think I'm trying to sort of reframe how I think about my year and trying to see it in a positive light, instead of thinking, oh, I'm wasting my time.
I definitely do not think you are wasting your time. No,
working a job that I don't necessarily see or feel is meaningful, or that this is what I want to be doing. It's still a time where I can think, you know, this is other kind of experience for if I need a job in the future in something similar, or also like, oh, I have not that much stress related to work, so I have more mental capacity outside of work to put my mind to things that I do care about.
You're basically working to be able to now sustain your hobbies and things.
Exactly.
And you're investing in that, you know? So
it's also better in some ways that I am working, at least, instead of studying something that I'm not sure I want to use, because then if I was studying, I would be going into maybe student debt, for example. But at least this year has been a time where I have been self-sufficient. I still pay rent every month, and I've been able to do a lot of other things.
And same for me as well, not studying directly after my burnout after applications last year. I also felt like at that moment, because I had an experience prior, that in hindsight it was better for me to go to the school. We did that the school I initially thought I was going to go to when I moved back to Sweden. It just gave me like experience of it will be worth the wait, and once I get into uni, it will click for me why I had to go the time I actually went. So.
And also a lot of things become clear in hindsight that you can't see in the moment, and things that you might not think are important, in a few years you'll look back and go, oh wow, that was so important for me to go through in order to learn these specific things.
Because life is all about timing as well. It's crazy. Like if it's not there at the right place at the right time, then you might miss it by a millisecond, you know, so...
And things happen, I think, in good timing, in a place where you can receive and learn those lessons at that specific time.
When you're open.
Yeah, when you're open to it.
In Korean, you say your plate is big enough to like take in those things. If your plate is like still too small, even if the same thing is right in front of you, you won't be able to accept all of it.
Yeah,
you know?
I like that.
Well, maybe I wanted to talk a bit about executive dysfunctioning as well. So just the definition of it, I wrote it here quickly. It says, it's a cognitive impairment affecting the brain's ability to plan, focus, initiate tasks, regulate emotions, and manage time. I mean, what I read of it based on the internet. Don't go down that rabbit hole, but I've been trying to be very careful about this and like not just misdiagnose myself. I will have to talk to a few people if I feel like I'm ready to, if I want to, but now I feel like micro-tasking has been able to manage myself a little. That's one more thing I wanted to just quickly hop in and say about like you when you were talking about your driver's license. It is very daunting thinking about that you have to have a certain amount of funding ready to do it, but if you cut the process in like a few steps, there's like the theory process, then there's the learning process, and then there's the exam process. So like you can also split your billing like that. You can start with doing the theory test, and then you have at least a few months or like a year to do the rest, and then you can have more money saved up. Like you don't have to have everything at once. I think even being able to practice and not paying for it
very true
all the time is like
such a privilege.
It is a big privilege, and you can literally start when you want to and when you're ready to do it, you know. Something
that I've struggled with is also the fact of when I don't have a lot on my plate, when I don't have a lot of things going on, sometimes I feel like I have less time because somehow it's this feeling of momentum. So if I was studying and working at the same time, I would also feel like I have this momentum going and feel more capable of working out and cleaning more often because it's just a must. You adapt to how much time you have in each moment.
You would try to fit in so much.
Exactly, and even now when I feel like I still, even though I have a lot more time than I would if I was studying or working full time, somehow it still feels like I don't have enough time.
And that's I get exactly what you mean.
That is so difficult to wrap your head around, and something that I really want to understand better, or understand how to actually make time feel like it's moving more slowly. Because even today when we
just gotta throw our phones out the window.
And I think that's segue into me feeling like I need to delete social media again after not having it in January.
We need to go on a strike. Definitely, because I feel like I've been so dependent on it now, where I'm at the point where I'm scared to like cut it off, but I know once I do it, it will get quite easy, and like
it feels so easy.
The FOMO is also just a concept. Me just saying everything is a concept. Life is a concept. My brain is a concept.
How we convince ourselves. But should we do a social media detox break?
Yeah, we should do that.
Okay.
And I think it will be good for us, and especially this time, I really need it.
Yeah.
The thing is, I can never cut down on YouTube, but because I do other things while having that, I'm trying to justify my choices. But I do know that short form content, which becomes in the long run way more screen time than I ever watch like a proper series or a movie or YouTube, like that takes over. Because if you're scrolling on Reels for an hour, meaningless every single time, thinking that you've gained some insight, and then 10 minutes later you forget about what you watched for the last hundreds of reels, you know?
And none of it is meaningful. It's not something you will
No.
look back and think, oh yeah, I remember when
And
I
those
watched
people
that video.
literally just post it to gain money as well and publicity. So, I mean, we're feeding into that whole norm. And that's what they want us to do, you know, these freaking monsters.
When you're actually trying to become a content creator, but just demonizing them all.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's what I wanted to tell you about your driver's license. We got a micro task, and that's been a huge factor to not feeding into my executive dysfunction. Is being able to have like the courage to do the smallest task you can think of in the spectrum of the whole thing that you want to get done. Like if I have a project, just scribble a few ideas, go through a magazine and like see if you can gain some inspiration. Like thinking that you have 1 week to finish this whole project, it's just too daunting to think of, you know? So I really have to
break it up.
I literally had opened the website.
Yeah.
Some days I'm like, open the website, write down what you have to do, just read the article of one of the things and like the easiest things. And that's been helping me much better than before to just having control over my life, because I definitely like, and I know you do too, we love being organized, and the thought of being organized gives us such satisfaction and motivation in life, which is why we feel so disgusting when we are not able to grasp our ability to organize. In my ideal life and head, I am an organized ass person. Yeah. But then reality doesn't match up to the level I want to be, and that's why it gets so difficult.
I think I also give off a facade of being organized, and people always tell me, oh wow, you seem like you didn't procrastinate at all in high school, or that I was studious. But I myself don't believe that. I don't think that, and I don't see myself as that kind of person. But
we were on a different level of procrastination, girl. Like,
okay, but nowadays we're on the same level.
Yeah. No, we're not.
This whole thing of fake productivity, I'm such a big culprit of that. Planning, writing down lists of all I need to do that day, which is at least a step in the right direction, but I feel, as you said, so much satisfaction from having written it down, from having written all the things I'm doing this week out of my diary, scheduling it out, all that kind of thing. But when it comes down to actually doing it, I fall short, and then it's like this.
I totally disregard it. I write the list, I'm like, goodbye.
No, I haven't
seen the list for a week.
Yeah.
The week later, I'm like, still have these things on my list.
And I just carry it from one day to the next.
Yes, it's crazy. It's just back again to executive dysfunction. No, I just wanted to say that, like, I don't know if it's like I want to explain what it is to you guys, or like, I don't know.
How do you relate to it?
That's the thing. I relate to it, and I think I might in some way have executive dysfunction, because the biggest difference between procrastination and executive dysfunction is that you care about the tasks that you have to do. Like, it's like you're hitting an invisible wall. You really want to get it started, but there's just something in you that makes you not be able to do it. But you constantly think about it every day. My YouTube, my editing was something I really wanted to do, so I was thinking about it every single day. And it would stress me out so much, and it would always be on my task list, but I would never get it done. And for some reason I could not start it. That's why also, like, treating it as a job, just because I switched to that mindset doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to all of a sudden become productive in any way. But it's just, I guess, understanding that it's not true laziness that is blocking this task for me was like a huge relief. And then I could understand myself more and like get going. But it's very hard, because in the whole ADHD category of it all, there is executive dysfunction in it. So it can be one of the symptoms you have. It's like feeling paralyzed or unable to initiate tasks, time blindness, me and my time blindness, difficulty planning for the future, estimating time or meeting deadlines. And this is for me, like, I'm so optimistic with my time. So estimating how much like a project will take, it's not something you can ever time. Like, what you think will take 3 days will take you 10 days. And you always have to give yourself more time and you will always be sitting there for 6 hours instead of 1.5. Yeah, I've just been way too optimistic with my time in the past, and I still am. And yeah, there's like focus issues, distraction as well, inability to manage frustration or impulses. Maybe.
That's me.
We'll see. It does associate to neurodevelopmental conditions like ADHD or OCD and those things, but like I said, I have never talked to a professional, so I will have to do that. Just having like a concept of the fact that maybe I am not neurodeveloped the same as like people who have no issue with tasks and procrastinating and stuff has just helped me a lot more.
And gives you a bit more
control over my life as well.
Yeah, but forgiveness for if you don't feel like you're measuring up to the same standards as everyone else, you know?
Forgiveness, we'll get there.
I mean, you can't
Not
have too much
yet,
forgiveness, but
exactly, I'm like, well...
But that's the balance, to not beat yourself up for not doing something, but also having enough trust and motivation and discipline to continue on the journey of trying to become better, you know?
Yes. And I mean, we are in our quarter life, so we've had our quarter life crisis, I feel like, or you're getting there. You're soon
one
quarter.
more year.
Yeah. You and your years. There's definitely this shift in your brain where you want to know yourself a bit more and know what you want to do with your time and life, and all the questions are coming from our eagerness of that specifically, you know.
But there's so many more things I want to do in life, and I'm ready to start them.
Yeah. 24 hours is not enough, guys. We need 48 hours in a day.
Beyonce lives the same 24 hours. Isn't that the...
Taylor Swift lives the same 24 hours.
I will say, when you have enough money to outsource cleaning, cooking... Actually,
yeah, sure.
She makes a lot of sourdough, so that doesn't count. But you know what I mean. Yeah. When you have people
maintaining
to do everything else, I think you create more time for yourself.
You do save a lot of time. Money is time, guys.
The conclusion.
Gotta be rich.
We just need more money, and we'll have more time.
Disappoint the viewers like this.
Time is money.
Time is money.
Speaking of time, we have been talking for quite a while.
Yes. I thought I would end this episode with a quote. A cheesy, corny quote.
Sometimes we love that.
From Pinterest.
Okay, go ahead.
It says, don't forget you can start late, start over, be unsure, act different, try and fail, and still succeed. That's just one thing I want to mention.
That's what we'll leave you guys with this week.
Yes.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. And yeah, if you're struggling with anything productivity related or feeling like you're self-sabotaging, you can put it down in the comments and maybe we can all
talk about it. And
it's better to feel less alone in this, because I think everyone is struggling with these things.
It feels so much more liberating actually verbalizing it and talking about it. I also read somewhere that your ability to put your thoughts into words is only 10% of everything you're thinking about. So even that small percentage that we can actually verbalize and express ourselves, if we have that ability, you should definitely do it and release some stress there, you know.
And maybe other people are feeling the same
definitely
the same way, and we'll feel
I know you all are.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're on top of everything, it's good for you. See you there when I'm there.
Teach me your ways.
Yes. But we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.